To me, exile, quickly!
Hello everyone and welcome to the last video of the Cast on Crit project with Indigon Pathfinder class. I will be showcasing the build items, skill setup, flasks and cluster jewels as well as unique jewels that you're gonna be needing. The build is really fun and I hope you all give this a try. So without further ado, let's check this out. So for our main weapons, we're gonna be using two Cosprey's Malice for the cast on crit, and one of them is gonna be a Frenzy Corruption with 7% attack speed is a bonus, just to balance out the APS versus attack speed. The second Cosprey is just a normal one, just corrupted. And when you're buying Cospreys, make sure they don't have Resolute Technique as corruption. For the helmet, we're gonna be using Indigon. The Ice Spear enchantment is really strong. I highly recommend that you get it. For our amulet, Pandemonious, no complaints. This is the absolute best amulet that you can have on this. The budget version is of course Azeri's Foible. For our body armor, Cloak of Defiance, nothing else. Mirror Tier armor doesn't even compare to this. This is the absolute best. For one ring, we have Essence Worm for the free Zealotry aura. For our second ring, we have a rare Shaper ring. Mods to look out on this ring is level Assassin's Mark, hopefully level 12. Lot of intelligence, like 50 and above, and then you can attribute it to so you can fill out the int requirements for wielding Cospreys. And then you want a open suffix, and you want to craft accuracy on there. If you don't have a open suffix for accuracy, then you're gonna be wasting another jewel slot on the cluster. So either get a open suffix with to craft accuracy, or get the Shaper mod with global accuracy rating. Both will work. For the prefixes, life, mana and added damage to spells, preferably cold damage added to spells. For our gloves, we have Kalisa's Grace. When you are buying this, make sure they have a high intelligence roll, like 29 or 30, and then as much life as you can. This is the, I wouldn't say this is the best, but this gets the job done and it's really good. Higher upgrades might be like really expensive, Hands of the High Templar, or maybe a Culling Strike and Unnerved Gloves, probably. For our belt, it will be a rare belt. We want the cooldown recovery on it, and then after equipping all the gears, you want to get the resistance needed to cap out on this slot. Otherwise, life, mana and everything else. Preferably a Stygian Vice, but they are expensive as hell, so I opted for this really crappy belt. This is not good at all. The better version of this belt will be listed in the POE. For boots, you want Omeokon. I just got these two-tone boots, like they're flashy and they look cool, that's all. This is completely unnecessary to get a Tailwind Elusive boots. You can be actually more survival, more mana with Omeokon. You can have more mana with Omeokon, thus more survivability. For our flask setup, we have Eternal Mana Flask of Warding. Make sure it has Enduring prefix. Bottle Fate for crit and a lot of damage. Wise Oak for resistance, and if you are fancy shancy going capping and balancing out all the uncapped resistance, you're gonna get a lot of damage from this as well. Dying Sun, extremely powerful, very mandatory flasks, adds 3 projectiles actually, because we're Pathfinder, we're scaling flask effect. This adds 3 projectiles instead of 2. This is an absolute beast of a flask that adds about 1,000,000 damage to your build. And then finally Basalt Flask for the crit damage reduction, as well as the order craft for capping out crit. Okay, now for the skill setup. For our main skills, we have Cyclone, Divergent cast on crit. I got this for more attack speed, just that, nothing else. You can get Awaken cast on crit as well. Then you don't have to get cooldown recovery on your belt. You can get normal cast on crit as well, that will work. And then we have GMP for more projectiles, we're scaling projectile of course. Our spells for the cast on crit is one Ice Spear and one Freezing Pulse on body armor. This is both for clear and damage, as well as the last support will be Inspiration for more damage and capping out crit. For our Cosprees, on the first we have another Ice Spear linked to GMP and Hypothermia. This is for the Hypothermia buff as well as chill effect and everything. For our second Cospree, we have our utility spells, a Frost Bomb for the exposure as well as stopping enemy regen, then a Creeping Frost to create chilling area and slowing down the enemies as well, and finally Culling Strike for Culling Strike, obviously for killing bosses easily. Then on the helmet we have RF, it's permanently on because we're spamming flasks. Then we have Second Wind linked to Flame Dash and Arcane Cloak. Second wind here is to boost Flame Dash for 4 Flame Dash charges and reduce the cooldown of Arcane Cloak. On our boot slot we have Clarity. Make sure this is level 1 and do not level this up. We just need this for our Watcher's Eye mod. Then we have Herald of Ice. Try to get actually 2020 is fine since we are not going to be using this on bosses anyways. This is just for map clearing. Then we have Blood Rage. This is, I got a 2020 for more attack speed. You can get Divergent Blood Rage for Frenzy Charge regen on bosses. Then you don't have to get a Frenzy Corruption on the Cosprees, and you can get something else like expensive Cosprees with more projectiles corruption, that is. Then we have Precision. Get a level 21. This is really mandatory, kind of mandatory for accuracy and more hit chance and crit chance as well. For our gloves we have Vortex linked to Bone Chill for Bone Chill effect application, and then we have Archmage. This is to increase the mana cost of Vortex so that we are constantly spending mana and ramping up Indigon damage. And finally Arcane Surge with this as well, so we have 100% Arcane Surge uptime. And on the ring slot we have a Zealot tree. Also I forgot to mention, if you get an unset ring with these stats, you can use a Sigil of Power in the slot for more defensive and offensive capabilities as well. Okay, also another thing, the flasks, you can use an Aziri's Promise instead of Basalt flasks when you need chaos resistance maps, when you're doing chaos maps that have a lot of monsters dealing chaos damage like Chayulas, domains and stuff. This will give you positive chaos resistance. Like right now I have minus 60 with this flask. I have 4%, so this is really strong. Okay, now for the passive tree and ascendancy, of course. First we're Pathfinder. The first two ascendancies would be Nature's Boon for unlimited flasks and Master Alchemist, this two for the infinite flask charges. Then the third one would be Veteran Boyar, this one for the penetration and more flask charges during mapping, plus as well as more damage as well. Then we have Nature's Adrenaline. This is the 4th lap. I like to do this on 4th lap. This is purely for more movement speed as well as capping attack speed for cast on crit and cooldown recovery balancing and stuff. For our tree, we're gonna be going over to a lot of places actually, going all the way here, taking the phase acrobatics and acrobatics, as well as the cluster slot here, all the jewel sockets that we can, all the way up here, another cluster and everything here. So for the unique jewels, I kept all of them on the left side of the tree. We are going to be using a Conqueror's Potency. You can get this with a corruption with damage penetrates cold or elemental resistances. and a Watcher's Eye. This is not the perfect one. I got the mana recovery rate, but the mods that you want are attack speed while affected by precision, and then 10% of damage taken from mana while affected by clarity, and then another precision mod, maybe another zealotry mod as well. On this slot you want a transcendent spirit. This gives us a ton of accuracy so that we can cap our hit chance for cyclone. On this slot we have our first cluster. This is the large clusters. I'm gonna talk about this in a bit. Just go up a little bit. On this slot I'm using a corrupted blood jewel with attack speed and cold multi. This is not perfect by any means. You want attack speed, then crit multi, and then you want some life or mana. I took these 4 points to get to this Throat Seeker node because this is really good, like 50% crit multi. You can also refund 2 of these, get these 2 jewels and get a life and crit multi or mana and crit multi jewel over here, and then spend the other 2 points somewhere else on the tree, like getting a mana node here or mana node here. That will be nice as well. Okay, for our clusters, the first one is gonna be Blanketed Snow, Snowstorm, and Widespread Destruction. We want one with these exact combination so that we don't have to spend extra 2 points to get a notable that is useful on the top side. We are gonna get both of these here, and this is perfect for us. We need Widespread Destruction and Blanketed Snow. This is really important, the Blanketed Snow. This is most of our damage that comes from this. Then we have 2 medium clusters with Flask effect. One is gonna be Liquid Inspiration and Distilled Perfection, and then the other one would be Liquid Inspiration and Spike Concoction. This Spike Concoction node is really strong, and you just need one of these, so just one here, and then Liquid Inspirations for more mana and power charge generation while using a mana flask. For our second clusters, we have Blanketed Snow, Blast Freeze, and Widespread Destruction. We want all 3. This is the damage part of our cluster. Blanketed Blast Freeze for inflicting chill and then spreading the chill among other enemies. So this is actually not just damage but survivability during mapping as well. Widespread Destruction, so our Cyclone has more AoE as well as all other Herald of Ice effects and stuff, and also elemental damage as well, and Blanketed Snow for more damage penetration as well. The small clusters over here can be the same as this, Liquid Inspiration and Distilled Perfection, which will give you actually more mana so that you survive more, but I like damage, so I went crit clusters. Pressure Points and Magnifier, these are one of the most top damage clusters that you can get on a custom crit build. You can use only one of them and get another mana cluster here. These are both Pressure Points, Magnifier, same as this, but I like this setup more. For the jewels in this slot, I have crit multi, double crit multi, and mana, and this one is single crit multi, attribute, and mana. I needed this 8 attribute for equipping high level of inspiration as well as cost freeze. On here I have this unique type of jewel. You want a lot of attack speed, like 13% attack speed on these, and then life and mana, whichever, it doesn't matter, both are gonna be the same effective HP for your character. So 3 jewels with attack speed, 2 jewels with crit multi, 2 unique jewels, 3 unique jewels, and then another optional unique jewel slot here. I just didn't go for it. With more level ups you can take it. And Anointment, let's talk about Anointment real quick. I opted for Mark the Prey. This one is the cheapest. It requires like really cheap oils, so I went for this. The other option for the Anointment would be here. This would be the second best, Arcane Potency, and then the final upgrade, or not final but the best upgrade in terms of damage would be Arcane Capacitor. Both of the 3 add about the same damage, like 10% more. Mark the Prey is really good for Flask charges. This Mark the Prey and this Arcane Potency is about 10% damage difference, while this is like 20% damage difference. So I went for this one as well. Also on your clusters, make sure you can add implicits from Harvest as well. Some good implicits would be damage penetrating elemental or cold resistances, as well as movement speed for both of the three add about the same damage, like 10% more. Mark the Prey is really good for Flask charges. This Mark the Prey and this Arcane Potency is about 10% damage difference, while this is like 20% damage difference. So I went for this one as well. Also on your clusters, make sure you can add implicits from Harvest as well. Some good implicits would be damage penetrating elemental or cold resistances, as well as movement speed for quality of life.